Hey, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to quickly share with you guys a Twink setup configuration that was recommended by a viewer, and then I worked on it a little bit, and I built it out into something. I kind of went overkill. I over-engineered it a little bit, because that's what I like to do. I like to sit here and tinker and over-engineer. Anyway, basically what I was doing is let me turn off the automation support. That's going to be a little annoying while I'm talking. I wanted to try out the Envy rune enchant that people have been talking about this league, Envy plus Summon Special Wolf. That is really, really strong in Act 1 and 2. Basically, all you got to do is get low-level wands, craft Envy, and Summon Special Wolf. You can add in a Rigwald's quest to get more wolves more quickly, but that's very, very optional. And this will carry you through the first 3 acts for free. Literally doesn't matter what skill you use. I'm not even kidding. I use Lightning Tendrils. Doesn't matter what skill you use. What this Envy skill does is it will give you gives you an aura that will give you a ton of flat chaos damage to attacks and spells, both for you and your allies. So what you can do is SRS, you can do zombies, you can do whatever, but they will, in Act 1 through 3, they will hit very, very hard. I do recommend also using Summon Phantasm support to get a bunch of Phantasms. Anything else, it does not matter. That is so much flat damage in the early campaign that no matter what minion you have, skeletons, zombies, again, will one-shot almost everything in the entire campaign for the first 3 acts. It is insane. Particularly when you get the Summon Special Wolves. This is very common knowledge. This is something that a lot of people have talked about. This league, it is very common. I mean, the wolf thing's been around for a little bit. But then adding in the Envy enchant makes it even stronger. And just putting all that together, Act 1 through 3, totally solved, incredible. But I did notice that it was starting to get a little weak towards the end of Act 3, and it was fine. Like, the wolves and the phantasms, they were still doing okay damage, but it felt like average damage. It didn't feel like godlike damage. It didn't feel incredible. And I was just kind of lamenting that on stream, and a viewer, Honzai, recommended... I also was saying, I'm like sick of pressing too many buttons. Been pressing a lot of buttons this league, and I'm kind of sick of it. And I was like, I just want like an auto bomber to run through the campaign. And what Honzai, the viewer, recommended was using the Reverberation wand right here and putting in a Summon Flame Golem, which you can do once you hit level 34 in Act 4. That will be a reward from Diala, I believe, or no, the other one, the one next to Diala. She will give you the Golem reward when you finish the quest on a witch. Of course, this is a witch-specific video, if you couldn't tell already. But if you're leveling a witch, specifically an Elementalist, definitely give this a shot. It's really, really good. So yeah, Reverberation Wand. This right here gives you a pseudo 6 link. You can put in Flame Golem. You can link it with a bunch of really good gems. You can do Elemental Focus. You can do Predator support, and then you want to put in GMP. So that's the basic setup that you want to go for. Put that in a Reverberation Wand, and you have a pseudo 6 link, and you're off to the races. On top of that, you can still use the Envy skill right here to give the Golems an additional plus 100 or so flat chaos damage, which will be really good early on. So that felt really good, Act 4 and 5. And then in Act 6, I noticed that it was a little bit lower than I liked. It was still okay. However, once you get to level 41, which is about halfway through Act 5 or so, then you can equip the Clay Shaper. And this is where it really pops off. This is where I started over-engineering a little bit. So the Clay Shaper is a rock breaker, one-handed mace, that does require a good amount of strength. So you might have to grab some strength nodes and stuff right here. High attribute requirements, but it will give you +1 to the maximum number of summon golems. Now, we don't really care about the added physical attack damage. We don't even really want our golems to be doing physical attacks. However, this will give us +1 number of summon golems, so we want to equip 2 of those. Then on top of that, I'm using Primordial Chain for more golems, and then they're also tiny and cute, and then a Primordial Might and a Anima Stone right here. All of this together allows us to have 12 golems out. On top of that, we are also using a Summon Stone Golem of Safeguarding, which is really the piece that brings us all together, that makes us feel really tanky and strong. I currently have this in a Brine Rot mark, which is just very optional, but I thought it was a cool thing to toss it in, just make it a little bit stronger. This guy says, Golems grant 15% of melee damage taken from your Stone Golem's life before you. And we buff our Golems as much as possible, so this number actually gets very high. That's this number right here. This actually will get to 93%, I believe, when I have all my Golems out. Let me summon them really quickly right here. I actually have I have a lot of golems. I have to unequip this so I don't overwrite my other golems. Actually, no, there we go. We got the 12 golems. So you can see this went to 93% of melee damage is taken from my stone golem. So if you didn't know, most of the scary damage that's going to kill you probably a big melee hit from an enemy just walking up and hitting you. This will mitigate 93% of that. And with our Stone Golem safeguarding in the Brine-Watt mark, giving him an additional 20% of max life as energy shield, he is now extra tanky as well. And it's unlikely that I haven't seen his life get very low whatsoever. So this together with all of our golems out, if you didn't know, also as Elementalist, of course, we take the golem nodes. The more golems that we have out, that will give you stronger buff effect as well. So we have as many golems out as we can. They're also immune to elemental damage. They are getting resummoned. We don't have to worry about resummoning them. And we have a ton of golem buff effect on top of golem commander as well. That means that 15%, right, is scaling all the way up to 93%. We also have a chaos golem right here. And then we also have a regular stone golem giving us a ton of life regen. I'm getting like 40% of my life regen per second. So all of that together is really the pieces going into this build. And let's just show you guys really quickly what that looks like. I have Convocation linked to automation support right here. I really just wanted an auto bomber. So I have automated flasks and everything. I don't have to press any buttons. And with the Convocation going, with the golems being summoned nonstop to my character, with them being aggressive with high cooldown recovery rate, they are just killing everything automatically for us, and we don't have to do anything else. And really the big benefit, like that's common, right? That's relatively common in a Twink setup, right? And most Twink setups are just movement speed, just damage. However, the benefit here is we are also really, really tanky. For a witch running through the campaign, you could say, hey, if you're a gladiator with max block and endurance charges, whatever, yeah, sure. But one of the most annoying things, particularly if you try something like Hollow Palm on a witch, you will be so squishy. You're probably going to end the campaign with like 50 plus deaths. And it's just really annoying. It's very spammy. It's very high button pressing. Again, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just clicking left click with my mouse right now, and there's nothing else going on. The golems are automatically doing everything. I do have both Wave of Conviction and Flammability on my mouse buttons, so I can do that when necessary on a harder single target. And ideally, I also do Signal Prey as well for a little bit more damage, but entirely optional, entirely non-necessary. In this situation, I am using Dial's Malefication. We do want to grab Summon Flame Golem of Hordes also as soon as possible. This will give us 2 additional golems on top of the base one. We lose the increased damage from Flame Golem, but we don't care about that because we're minion damage. And yeah, Dial's with 1 red and 5 green sockets is ideal right here, but you can just use a Tabula, and that is totally fine. I was using a Tabula initially, and I was like, you know what? Well, if we're gonna go all out with the Twink setup, why not? And this was 2 divines to buy right now with the right colors. And yeah, if I just put the debuffs on it, and you can see we're just hands off. They will automatically kill the boss. You don't got to do anything. And yeah, I don't know. Twink stuff always feels really good. Of course, you're always gonna be overpowered. All twinking is whatever. But I wanted something that was just an auto bomber that you could twink and just save my wrist, not press any buttons, just walk through everything. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with the setup. And I'm really excited to put together an Elementalist later. The goal was to put together an Elementalist, leveraging particularly the Summon Stone Golem Safeguarding. This is some tech that people are playing around with a lot more this league. The core here is using the Stone Golem Safeguarding, and the Chaos Golem, buffing that as much as possible. And then we can get all the other defenses that Elementalist has, particularly going into the Bastion of Elements. And then we're going to go for Flesh and Stone, all the other defensive layers that we can get. I've seen examples of Elementalists actually being pretty darn tanky this league, compared to a 10 endurance charge Slayer or something. Of course not. I don't think that's going to compare. But for something at a lower budget, for something that, we got to try to find some defenses on Elementalist. Because, after the nerfs this league, she's in a worse place than she has been in the past. And I think this is some pretty cool tech. So I'm excited to try it out a little bit later on stream today. But yeah, if you're looking to start an Elementalist and you just want one of the smoothest, most fun campaign, just twink setups, watch Netflix, one hand on the mouse, the other hand do whatever you want to do with it. This is, give it a shot. It's really fun. All right. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon. Goodbye.